Hvala puno Martini i hvala puno njezinim sugovornicama. A mi idemo dalje gdje pričamo o Hrvatskoj, ali i o inozemnoj produkciji. Dakle, još jedna značajna tema koja je dio jednog velikog projekta koje je sniman u Hrvatskoj i to pune 3 sezone. Radi se o projektu Hotel Portofino, a što nam je to i financijski i promotivno donijelo, čućemo na sljedećem panelu. Imamo producenta serije koji nam se javlja ovako putem tehnologije, mislim da nas već sad i čuje. On je Christopher Arcache. S nama je ovdje danas i lokalni koproducent Nebojša Taraba iz produkcijske kuće Drugi plan, kojeg pozivam da dođe ovdje na pozornicu. Uz Christophera sve će to moderirati još jednom Tanja Blažević. Izvolite. Prije nego što krenemo, možete slobodno ih pozdraviti aplauzom. Prije nego što krenemo, imamo jedan promotivni video, rekla sam već, Hotel Portofino sniman je u Hrvatskoj, imamo jedan promotivni video Hrvatske turističke zajednice, 60 sekundi vizualnog užitka, evo uživajte.
You have to visit the city where I have found my love, Dubrovnik, and see a concert in this place.
You have to enjoy coffee on any of our squares.
And see the most beautiful Croatian building.
You have to learn all about our legends.
You have to party here.
Take a photo there.
Dance everywhere.
You have to come to Croatia.
Croatia, full of history and culture, full of life.
Is Chris?
Hello.
Hi. Chris, are you with us?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I can see you are here. Soon, hopefully, people will see you as well.
Great.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, hi, Chris.
Hi there. I can't see anyone.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
is this Tanya?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, great. Hi. I can see you both. Hi.
Okay. Do you miss Croatia already? What, 5 days without us?
I do.
Okay, I'm so glad that Chris had a chance to join us, and also Nebojša from Drugi plan. We are going to talk about the Hotel Portofino, not only the 3rd season, but they finished the 3rd season a couple of days ago. But they filmed all 3 seasons in Croatia, and I congratulate you, both of you, one more time, because it was a huge job, and you started in 2021, when COVID was still very active, and when measures were much higher than today. But now the 3rd season is finished, and before we start to talk about the project, I would like the technicians to show you the trailer from the season 2, so that you know what we are talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, let the good times roll! Looks like paradise, eh?
Ciao Carolina. Arrivederci signora. Come stai, Carlo?
Buongiorno, bella.
Everything okay with the room? You're all set. I do hope you enjoyed your stay with us.
That'll do.
Have you spoken to Rose?
Young Mr. Ainsworth will be travelling alone.
Lucy. Going back to Italy. On his own. After 5 months of marriage.
I've come to tell you that this is my place. Here by your side, wherever that'll take me.
Then if you choose to remain, you must do so with your eyes open.
Miss Pascal, are you in trouble? Kinda.
Bravo, va bene, va bene. So that's the famous Signor Bonaccini.
He is the architect.
I'm not that much of a prize.
I find that very hard to believe.
Looking for me?
I don't understand why you've come back.
We're bound together, you and I.
How can I ever trust you again?
I will do better, whatever it takes.
I was wondering what things might have been like last summer.
I'm afraid I'm in a spot of bother. It's this whiskey business. A souvenir from Bonnie, Scotland.
There is someone I am desperate for you to meet.
I see now where your daughter gets her beauty.
It was a moment of madness.
It was the sanest thing I've ever done.
Rose, you've made it. Well, this should be a joy.
I can't go back to how it was before.
I wanted your advice on Rose about addressing her fears. About sex, you mean?
We haven't been properly intimate.
It's just isn't you, Rose.
I'm just glad you're here.
Stay away from my wife.
Are you threatening me?
How could grief know? I'm advising you.
Open the gates, Signor Ainsworth.
Signor Danioni, we have absolutely nothing to hide.
This is no time to be undecided. He's a fascist collaborator. There's no other option but to fight violence with violence. Yes! It is fatal to hesitate.
Negroni? Only if my guest insists.
Do you trust him, honey?
Cecily? No, not for a minute.
I've got entangled with some Italian Americans.
America is dry.
Gentlemen in America is thirsty.
They would like to propose an expansion.
By how much?
These are not people to say no to.
Just get him to answer my damned letter, Edmund, unless you want to find me floating face down in the harbor.
Assassination attempt.
Assassination?
Where is he?
Where's who? Bring it up!
What I want is for Danioni to stop interfering. There's too many prying eyes here.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Claudine Pascal.
You say that I'm gonna pay the price. You say that I better stamp aside.
Corruption must be a very profitable business in Portofino.
Let the laundering begin.
I'm liberating him.
I'm rather keen to teach him a lesson.
She knows that I'm not in love with her.
Tell me what's wrong with me.
Get down!
Welcome to the leading lady.
A 100% stake in the Hotel Portofino.
Oh, no, you're not.
So this was a really nice reminder of the season 2. Chris, you were here in Croatia also filming the season 2, had some professional upgrade in the season 3. So it was 60 filming days for season 2 and for season 3. So maybe you can compare the experience and how you felt in Croatia working for both seasons. And you had some changes also, big changes in the production. So if you can elaborate that a bit.
I mean, the changes were, I think there's multiple factors. Overall, everything went much smoother in season 3. In producing anything is always a challenge. And I think there's multiple factors that explain why it was easier to shoot season 3. One is that a lot of people in the crew knew the project. We knew each other. We knew how to work together. I also knew the constraints. Drugi plan also knew the constraints, and it was about making it work. With one change, for example, is that the costume designer was actually Croatian, Amena Baksic, and that went very well. So overall it was much easier.
Nebojša, this is one of the projects that were filmed in Croatia with the support of Croatian Audiovisual Center. That is really special because of the impact that Croatian film professionals and crew had within the entire crew of the project. It would be best that you represent the crew and say how many of them and what they did.
Well, practically, it's like, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but 98% of the crew is actually Croatian, and we really can consider it as a kind of, in a way, Croatian project as well. the main difference is that all heads of departments are Croatian, except on this year it was, I think, only makeup. We had.
That's right.
Yeah, and which is really specific difference when we compare it with other so-called service productions. And we are very proud, as you can see, that we can deliver such a demanding projects as period dramas are, on the same level. Even we don't have that much experience locally in producing the period drama. So that was really the biggest challenge for us. And on the other side, and I want to emphasize that because that was all the time here in the air, that, how to establish the balance between local and international productions in Croatia. What actually brought us Portofino and what made the main producer, Eagle Eye Pictures from London, to accept our proposal that we take almost everybody locally, was actually that they knew about our Croatian work already. So Walter Juzelino, who is one of the co-owners of the Eagle Eye drama production, he knew about the paper, he knew about the success, and when I proposed him the key people, he said, okay, if these people are the same one who did the projects I know very well, then let's do it that way, So that's also one of the recipes and one of the ways for Croatian producers who are not specialized only in services, but doing, good local productions, and they get certain visibility. They can also, I hate that word, monetize it, but it could really help, for the cooperation with the international partners.
Chris, you basically made Rijeka your home. Your main location for filming was Villa Magnolia in Lovran. I don't know that people can imagine what you've done with the interior design of the villa. So maybe you can elaborate a bit on how you practically build a studio in Lovran in this beautiful Villa Magnolia.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of work which sort of happened, over the years, because when I arrived on season 2, the house, some decisions had already been made, of course, in season 1. And it was sort of about refining all that and making all that better. And then season 3, we changed quite a few things. Some walls, for example, were, made out of wood panels. The wood was beautiful. We decided to clean the paint because there was some, off-white. We wanted to have more of a woody sort of color, a bit darker terracotta. So it was all of these choices to sort of make the show, I guess, more Italian. And it's just to circle back to what Nebojša was saying, it's very interesting because some people would expect that in order to make, to do a period show, to do a British period show, or to shoot, to make it look Italian, you would need, a British, let's say, production designer or Italian production designer. But the truth is that every project demands its own. So, for example, for me, I think it's really about how is that person going to dig into the history and dig into references, especially in this case, 1920s. And the problem is sort of the same on every project because it's always different. Who is the most, how do you say, who's the best person who can, for example, do Star Wars? Does that person have to know all the planets in Star Wars? That's never going to happen. So it's all a creation, and this is all research. And then, of course, talking to the director, what works, what doesn't work, at every single stage, production design, costume, and of course the look of the show. In terms of lenses, in terms of the amount of key light you're going to use.
Okay, thank you. When talking about locations, this is a specific, it's not a specific situation that Croatia plays other countries or territories, but sometimes we are criticized that if Croatia is not represented as Croatia, it's not good. Maybe it's not good in this sense of tourism, and if you look very strictly, because I've heard some criticism like Dubrovnik played imaginary city of Game of Thrones, and I said, okay, but what is the real city of Game of Thrones? So of course that can be one answer, but we need to talk about the production value of this Croatian diversity and this quality that Croatia has, that it's able to duplicate for another location. So please, Nebojša, if you can elaborate.
It's luck. I mean, the shooting in the real Portofino is almost impossible even for the big Hollywood studios. So it was not a matter of So of course they could go for another similar location in Italy as well, on the Ligurian part, but on the other side, why not playing something someplace? As you said, there are many shows, film series where the places are just imaginary, they are not real. And on the other side, all advantages of that are, we mentioned, the great experience for Croatian production crew. As you saw, the entire production design was made by Ivan Veljača and his team. Have to release now the costumes by Amela and her team. So, speaking of Croatia, somebody on the very beginning today asked what we can do to kind of increase the capacity. Right now, we are tied with international productions with our locations, and that's why international projects are coming here, because Croatia has really this unique, gift that it could really be almost any part of Europe. We can, on a certain extent, double Scandinavia, not to talk about the Mediterranean at all. I mean, then Central Europe, Western Europe, and that's a good thing. Why not? Again, as I said, if that, in a way, engage our people, and if they earn the credits they deserve for that, that's the only thing we should count. Apart of all other things which are, which we are benefit from on projects like this.
Yeah, I mean, many film commissions around the world are paying big money to advertise that they can double for anything, and with Croatia, it's somehow God-given. So we really need to use it. Chris, can you? You had a change of director from the season 2 till season 3. How did this new approach affected the new season, and how do you expect to have the next sequel of the series?
So I cannot really answer for whether or not there's going to be a season 4, because it's really not up to me. It's up to Eagle Eye, and also it's up to all the financiers around that, which is PBS, etc. So I really don't know yet. I think there's going to be more information about this in November, something like that. But in terms of new director, I mean, to me, what really lacked in previous seasons was a sort of a rooting of the show in a social reality. And these were very early discussions we had with the director we had this year, John Jones, trying to be more social realist. Because at the end of the day, the show is, the pitch of the show, it's about a British woman who runs a hotel in Portofino in the 1920s during the rise of fascism. And the last part of the sentence, I think, is really important, because at that time, you had, of course, a lot of poverty, and trying to understand the link between fascism and social context was really important. And I think, I'm from mainland Europe, and I think sometimes there is a belief that all people want is something glamorous, and without all these sort of currents, darker currents. And so there was a lot of discussion about that. There was a lot of discussion about, just naturalism, also in terms of the way the show was lit, less key lights, trying to make things more realistic. And also the costumes, looking back at season 1 and even season 2 to an extent, it sometimes feels that, it is fashion, it's absolutely gorgeous. But also this season, it was more about trying again to make things organic altogether.
Nebojša, you had when talking about fascism, you had some really demanding scenes filming in Rijeka that had to include a lot of a lot of extras. And can you describe the relationship with the town, and how did you manage to secure everything?
The Rijeka was really very welcoming in general, an entire region actually, and we have this great relationship down there since the paper. And as you know, that the paper was, and we were surprised when we found out that back in 2016 when we filmed it in Rijeka, that in such a visually beautiful, interesting place was almost never used, that in a film or TV production. So even in a way that project pushed Kvarner film office as well. So we are well known there as a production company. So we have a kind of special status. But this was a very demanding scene. Not only that it was like 45 degrees on the sun, and we had a lot of black shirts, so Italian fascists. The scene was literally parade, on the fascistic parade on the streets of Rijeka. It was a bit confusing for some people, and of course, that's something like that always carries certain connotations, which couldn't be pleasant for everybody, but we managed, and that entire scene went very well at the end, and we were all kind of relieved, So, but it was challenging. It was.
Chris, can you maybe? We always said, what are your best memories from this season? Can you maybe a bit reminiscence of the best moments of the season 3 in your experience in Croatia?
There was many. There's so many moments. That's a really tricky question, Tanya. I don't know. The best moments, I guess, are when everything's going well. And I actually had that feeling in Rijeka, which was really challenging days. There were so many extras. There was so many, street blocking, especially around this church. You always hope and you are scared that is everything going to work? Is everything in place? Are the extras who had been trained to walk, in a very army-like fashion? We rehearse them and all that, but are they going to be able to deliver on the day? And then you arrive on set, and everything is pretty smooth. Things are going as they should, and that's also very sort of it's a great feeling. That and a broader thing is the relationships in Croatia, and that I was lucky enough to have with a lot of people involved, including of course Nebojša and most people in the crew that there's a friendship there, and I was very grateful for that.
Well, I had the privilege to visit the set in Lovran, and I can really say that the atmosphere was very good and relaxed, and it's not usually on sets that everybody is so like, we know what we're doing. I mean, they all know what they're doing, but it was really relaxed, and you can see the connection between the crew and the whole team. So that was really nice to see.
That's great. It's really important for me as well.
Thank you. Nebojša, can you share maybe, did you experience any challenges, and what would you say we could all do better maybe here in Croatia?
Well, it is, of course, the most challenging was season 1, setting up everything. That was still a pandemic year. All limits were there, and unfortunately, the very big chunk of budget had to be spent, on the COVID measures. Fortunately, everything was released back to the picture already on season 2 and season 3. I also have to emphasize, the great financial contribution of the show to Croatia overall in 3 seasons, and it is due to the fact that we are supported by a filming program. It's more than 15 million euros, which stayed here. And what could be better? I think that now in season 3 we are really well-oiled machine, so that's how things work in our business, we also have a luck, that our crew, most of the crew which were engaged on Portofino, was coming from our own previous project. We keep this rhythm, if we have it at one international project, we have to produce at least one Croatian project. So they were coming from season 2 of The Silence, so it's something completely different in every aspect, starting with the budget and everything. So, I mean, the things could always be better, but as you know, all limitations, when you have such a great crew from all sides, speaking about John as director, Chris as a fantastic producer, they are always matter of the budget, in production, and but we prove that we can, do really good things, no matter of only budget. So
thank you. Do we maybe have some questions from the audience? No? Okay, one more question maybe for you, Chris, would be better for you to answer. So I had so many questions about from foreign colleagues and producers that were saying, oh, why is Hotel Portofino filming in the middle of the summer? Because it's usually in Croatia, that peaks are spring and the autumn, and this season 3 you did from July till mid of September, let's say. But the whole July and August were like real, production days. So can you explain a bit?
Yeah, so this is it is kind of an issue actually, but I mean, I think practically there's at least one good reason, which is the weather and the stability of the weather, or at least I should say the expected stability of the weather, because this year, we had some really crazy days where, we had some really intense storms, which no one really expected, and this is due to the extreme temperatures that were happening. Of course, in Croatia, but also in Italy, Slovenia, and all of this. So one key thing is that, because the show wants to show the summer in Italy, basically. But to be perfectly honest, it is an issue for us because, we shoot in basically one of the most popular tourist destination at the peak of the season, and it's always a challenge. But another reason as well is that the cast was optioned during that period, so between July and September, and it was very hard to change these dates. So that's why we shut during that time frame.
I can add that the season 2 as well was shot, but then we managed to, let's say, run away from Lovran to Zagreb for a certain number of weeks.
Yeah.
And then in Zagreb was completely different. In that day, Zagreb was empty. Everything was much easier. So we were not there at the peak of the season. This year, we managed with Zagreb only 10 days, I would say. Yeah. So that was also the big challenge. On the other side, I really have to emphasize that the hotel companies took care about us, and they, in a way, they appreciated that we were there in the days when everything was closed and locked. And so, we were kind of filling up their hotels. These next 2 years, they were really gentle with the prices, which otherwise, as we all know, it's not easy to shoot. And even some places like Rovinj, we shot in season 1, they simply don't give a permit, which is completely understandable. So hopefully that if there will be the further seasons, we will go more towards, let's say, the fall, and because the story itself is getting darker and darker, so we will be able to move away from the summer.
Thank you. I really wish that everything goes well, and I hope for the season 4, because it's really a pleasure to work with you, and it's a pleasure to see the application in Croatian Audiovisual Center for Hotel Portofino, because we are always sure that everything will go smooth and very good. Thank you very much,
Thank you so much,
for
Tanja.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.